The summer of 2017 was supposed to be a peaceful escape for Alex, a 26-year-old university student. With the stress of school and work wearing him down, he welcomed the idea of spending a quiet weekend at his family's cabin in northern Minnesota. It was a place filled with childhood memories, lazy summer afternoons fishing by the lake and evenings spent roasting marshmallows by the fire. But this trip was different. His parents had recently sold the cabin, and before the new owners arrived, Alex wanted one last visit, one final goodbye to a place that had been a part of him for years. The thought of being alone in the wilderness didn't bother him. If anything, he found comfort in the solitude, away from the constant noise of city life. The drive up was long but peaceful, the narrow road winding through dense pine forests, sunlight filtering through the trees in golden streaks. By the time he arrived, the afternoon sky had started turning shades of orange. Stepping out of the car, he took a deep breath, inhaling the fresh scent of pine and damp earth. The cabin stood just as he remembered, small, rustic, but cozy. Its wooden exterior was worn from years of enduring harsh winters, yet it still felt inviting. The lake, just a short walk away, shimmered under the setting sun. After unloading his bags, Alex decided to make a fire outside. He gathered some dry wood, arranged the logs, and lit a match. Soon a small flame flickered to life, the heat warming his face as he sat on the porch with a cup of coffee. For a while, everything felt perfect. The woods were alive with the familiar sounds of nature, birds chirping, the occasional rustle of leaves, a distant howl of a coyote. He felt safe, as if wrapped in a cocoon of nostalgia. But then, as the last light of the sun disappeared behind the trees, the atmosphere shifted. The lively sounds of the forest faded, replaced by an unnatural silence. No birds, no rustling, not even the distant hum of insects. Alex frowned. He had been coming to this cabin since he was a kid, and the forest was never silent. There was always something. Crickets, the croaking of frogs, the distant splash of fish in the lake. But now it was as if the entire area was holding its breath. He shook off the unease and stood up, stretching. "It's just my imagination," he muttered to himself. But as he turned to go inside, a whisper. It was faint, almost blending with the wind, but it was unmistakable. "Come here." Alex froze. The words were soft, almost gentle, yet they sent a chill down his spine. It wasn't just a voice, it was something else. It felt like the sound had slipped past his ears and lodged directly into his brain, bypassing everything natural. It was both distant and too close, as if someone was standing just behind him, breathing the words into his ear. He whipped around, his pulse hammering. His flashlight shook slightly as he pointed it toward the tree line, scanning the dense forest. Nothing, just the same dark, unmoving trees stretching endlessly into the night. Trying to brush off the creeping dread, Alex forced a chuckle. "Wind's playing tricks on me," he muttered, stepping inside and locking the door behind him. He turned on an old battery-powered radio, letting the crackling sound of static and distant music fill the cabin, anything to drown out the silence. He lay down on the couch, exhausted but restless, his mind replaying the whisper over and over. Then, bang. Sharp, deliberate knock at the window. His body went rigid, his breath caught in his throat. Then another knock, and another. It wasn't frantic. It wasn't the wind. It was steady, rhythmic, like someone knocking with precise intention. Alex sat up slowly, his heartbeat thunderous in his ears. The curtain was partially open, just enough for him to see outside. And that's when he saw it. A figure, tall, motionless, watching. It stood just beyond the tree line, barely visible under the dim glow of the moon. It wasn't moving. It wasn't breathing. It was just there. Alex's fingers trembled as he reached for the flashlight. The beam flickered as he aimed it toward the figure. Nothing. The moment the light touched the spot where it had been, it was gone. His breath came in shallow gasps. His mind screamed at him to rationalize what he had seen, but there was no logical explanation. His body was telling him what his mind refused to accept. Something was watching him, and it wasn't human. Then, the whisper came again. "Come here." Clearer, this time more urgent. The words slithered into his ears like an invitation, a demand. It felt closer, like whatever was out there was just beyond the walls, just past the thin wooden door. Alex shot up, locking every window and double-checking the door. He grabbed the knife from the kitchen